Hi guys, welcome back to George Reads once again. Well, today I'm reading to you from my living room instead of upstairs in the floor, like I said. But it collapsed on me when I was trying to record it, and I couldn't get it back up. So, I'm doing it here in the living room. My mum sitting on the sofa over the other side. And today we are reading the final chapter of Boom. Last time in chapter 17. They got home and they reunited with their parents, and then now they're going back to school and life is going to return to normal. Or is it? Chapter 18. A bunker under the Breakon beacons. School on Monday was particularly excellent, for obvious reasons. When your headmistress stands up in assembly and says you were kidnapped by two of your teachers, but you escaped and they're now on the run from the police, a party atmosphere continues pretty much unabated for the rest of the week. We were officially cooler than any other peoples living in memory, and I reckon it was probably a good month before any teacher would feel confident enough to give either of us a detention. Dad decided to take the job with Charlie's mum. He stuck it for 3 whole weeks. That was about his limit. She was terrifying, so Dad said. During one particularly stressful wedding reception, she did her breadboard throwing thing. He was inches away from a visit to accident and emergency. Luckily, he was offered a more lucrative and less dangerous job in the Grand Cafe in town, so he was able to stop working for Mrs. Brooks without incurring her everlasting wrath. Even more luckily, the job in the Grand Cafe was part-time, so he was able to come home and cook us beef Wellington and stuffed butternut squash. The police never came back. I told Charlie something fishy was going on, but he told me to chill out and be grateful we weren't taken into custody and injected with truth serum. So I tried to chill out, and I was doing really well till we were playing a 5-side football during the lunch break one day a couple of weeks later, and I looked across the road and saw a black car with smoked glass windows parked in front of the laundrette. I didn't tell Charlie. He'd say I was just being paranoid. The following day I saw it when I was standing on the balcony after supper. It pulled into the car park, idled for a few minutes, then drove away again. I told Charlie this time. He said I was seeing things. Then we had a class outing to the Science Museum, and the black car with the smoked windows was sitting at the side of the street when we got back into the coach. I went a bit crazy at this point. It took Mrs. Hennessy a good 10 minutes to calm me down, and even Charlie said I might have a point. A few evenings later, we met up in the little playground opposite the flats. We sat side by side on the swings. It was getting dark. The orange street lamps were coming on one by one, and the windows in the tower block were lighting up in a checkerboard of different colours. We were talking about our big secret. Charlie said, "Don't you wish you could tell someone? I mean, we could be rich, we could be famous. We could be interviewed by the world's most respected scientists. We could go down in history." He paused. Except, of course we wouldn't, because no one would believe us. We'd probably end up in a psychiatric hospital. "Unless we had proof," I said. "Yeah," said Charlie, "unless we had proof." "Like this, for example," I said, digging into the back pocket of my jeans and pulling out the floaty balls. "God," said Charlie, "I remember those. Do they still work?" I placed 2 of them in the air and let go. They hung there, completely motionless. "Those are yours," I said. "I've got 3 others. They're like a souvenir." "Cheers," said Charlie, sweeping the 2 balls out of the air and pocketing them. And that's when I saw the figure emerging from the shadows beneath the trees. My insides froze. "Charlie?" "Oh no," he said. "This is not good, isn't it?" I wanted to jump off the swing and run, but my legs were no longer taking messages. The silhouetted figure got closer. "Hello, James. Hello, Charles." It was Mrs. Pierce. She was wearing clothes she must have found in a skip. A black plastic raincoat with one sleeve missing, sandals, fluorescent orange workman's trousers. She looked as if she'd washed her hair in engine oil. "You were probably expecting me, weren't you?" "No," said Charlie in a wobbly voice. Actually, I wasn't. Jimbo was." "You destroyed my life. You destroyed everything," she said. "And do you know what?" What?" asked Charlie. "I have absolutely nothing left to lose." "Really? said Charlie. I could see now that Mrs. Pierce was holding two objects. In her left hand was a large hammer. In her right was a small pointy garden fork. Now hang on, said Charlie. I think we should talk about this. Sensibly, like grown-ups. Shut up, said Mrs. Pierce. I'm going to kill you. I looked over her shoulder. The black car with the smoked glass windows was parked in front of the flat. The driver's door was standing open. And I'm going to enjoy it so very, very much, said Mrs. Pierce. There was a movement in the darkness behind her. Two more figures were emerging from the trees. Their clothing was dark and their faces were in shadow, but I could see that they were men. Big men. Mrs. Pierce took a couple more steps, then raised the hammer above her head. I screamed and fell off the back of the swing and banged my head on the rubberized tarmac. Mrs. Pierce lunged, and there was a flash of light and a loud crack, and she slumped on top of me, the hammer narrowly missing my head. I pushed her off and struggled to my feet. There was a feathered dart sticking out of her bottom, and she was saying, Gordon Bennett, said Charlie. The two men were walking towards us. They had guns. It seemed like a good idea not to run away. The man on the left bent down, yanked the dart out of Mrs. Pierce's bottom, rolled her over, and fitted her with a black plastic muzzle. The man on the right walked up to us and said, Jimbo, Charlie. He held out his hand and we shook it robotically, unable to do anything else. Who are you? Asked Charlie. We're the good guys, said the man. He was wearing a suit, but he had an Action Man scar across his cheek, and his head was shaved like he'd just returned from a war. His colleague hoisted Miss Pierce easily over his shoulder and carried her towards the gate. What's going on? Asked Charlie. We reckoned if we stuck close to you, she'd show up sooner or later, said the man. Use you as bait. Bait? I said. There's a couple more still at large in the Peak District, but we'll track them down in the next couple of days. I don't think you've got much to worry about. Neither Charlie nor I could think of anything to say. Well, said the man, we just wanted to thank the two of you. You got there before us. Job well done. We'd give you medals, but medals mean publicity, and we don't like publicity in the department. What department's that? The man looked at Charlie as if he were very, very stupid. So, said Charlie, what are you going to do with her? Mrs. Pierce, I mean. She'll be in a disused nuclear bunker several hundred meters under the Brecon beacons. The man paused. Of course, I may be lying. He held out his hand towards me. Floaty balls, please. What? Floaty balls? Reluctantly, I slipped my hand into my trouser pocket, took out my 3 balls, and placed them in his hand. He looked over at Charlie. Yours too. Across the car park, I saw his colleague dump Mrs. Pierce's unconscious body into the boot of the car, slam it shut, then climb into the driver's seat. Charlie handed over the final 2 balls. The man took his hand away and let all 5 balls hang motionless for a second. God, I love these things. Then he swept them out of the air and slipped them into his jacket pocket. What are you going to do now? Asked Charlie nervously. Are you, going to wipe our brains or something? So we don't remember anything? You've been watching too many films, Charlie. No, it's much simpler than that. If you say anything to anyone, we track you down and kill you. Right, said Charlie. It's been good meeting you, said the man. I hope you have a pleasant evening. He turned and walked through the gate at the edge of the park. He got into the black car with the smoked glass windows, slammed the door, and drove off into the night. And that is the end of the entire book. Thank you guys so much for supporting me through this first book I read on my channel. If you have joined me through chapter 1 all the way to 18, then I can't thank you enough. Thank you for all your support early on in this channel. I hope you guys tune in tomorrow where I reveal the next book after Boom. It's been a pleasure reading this. I hope you guys tell your friends all about the channel and the book itself. And and on the Tuesday after chapter 1 of the new book, I'm doing my request video, and it's going to be chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm not going to be reading all of Harry Potter because, let's face it, it will take me 6 months to read all. But I'll be reading chapter 1 on Tuesday of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban as my special request read. And tomorrow, on Monday, I am revealing the book I'm going to read next after the book I just read. So thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye until the next time.